Good afternoon. Good evening. Good morning.
Just when I have all the answers, all the questions change. One day the world looks so normal, next it looks so strange.
That's right. One day the world looks so normal, next it looks so strange. One day I have all the answers, all the questions change. I am singing to myself in the car. I'm in the car. I haven't pulled out of the garage yet. I'm going to try something a little different today. I don't know if this is going to be safe. Actually, it is, because once I put the phone between my legs and I have the microphone safely already secured alongside of my beard hanging from my ear, it'll be fine. People talk in the car all the time, right? People talk on the phone. It's basically like having a hands-free phone conversation, only I'm talking to myself. So let me do that. Let me get the phone situated. Where am I going to put it? I'm going to put it off to the side here, I guess. No, I will put it between my legs. It should keep running. Why am I doing this? Oh, sorry. I heard a little burst of volume as I went to put my seatbelt on and got my mouth closer to the microphone. I do also have to apologize. I don't have to, but I'm going to. I'm going to apologize ahead of time for any scratchy noises you might hear, because while I do think that this microphone built into the headset, the whatever you call this thing, whatever Apple calls their headset, the microphone built into this thing is pretty decent. It's decent. I have to use that kind of abbreviation. Whenever I use that kind of abbreviation, I have to say that my daughter Autumn hates those kind of abbreviations. I don't really like them either, but I do like to use them every once in a while in a fun, ironic kind of way. Now I'm trying to pull out of the garage without ripping off my side view mirror. All right, so here's what's motivating me to do this. I was going to be, in a parallel universe, I am driving to the Comedy Store. But I am not going to be driving to the Comedy Store now because they don't have their open mic today. I didn't know that until I called them this afternoon. I could have found that out earlier if I had checked their website, but I didn't. I just called and they said, oh, sorry, not having the open mic tonight. We'll have it again next week. Okay, fine. Not a problem. There have been hundreds of open mics that have come and gone without me at them. And now there's one more week where I won't be doing an open mic. I should say thousands of open mics, actually. Not just counting the Comedy Store, but anywhere else that I could perform if I had the urge. So anyway, all week I had been kind of running some stuff through my mind that I would do if I went up tonight, but it's not like it was in the old days. It used to be in the olden days when I was seriously pursuing stand-up comedy. If I found out that there wasn't going to be an open mic, I would have been disappointed, and I would have had a lot of energy to burn, because I would have been all geared up to go. But it's not exactly the same now. I do have a little bit of antsiness and energy to burn, which is why I'm going out in the car driving, even though I'm not performing tonight. But it's not the same because, here's why. Why? Because I've got a totally different attitude about this, or at least if not totally different attitude, at least a somewhat different attitude. It's a different attitude. Did I mention this already? It doesn't matter. I worry about that sometimes. I think, oh, am I repeating myself? Chances are, yes. Don't we all? Not only do we repeat ourselves, but we will, in one way or another, be repeating or paraphrasing things that have been said over and over throughout the course of human history. But that doesn't stop us from talking, does it? No. Because we like to communicate with other people, or in this case, with myself, and thinking on the off chance that somebody else will listen to this someday, I am communicating to other people. That even in and of itself, I do probably say in one form or another in every one of my podcasts because, look, I know I'm not popular. I'm obscure. I understand that. And I also don't have people reaching out to me very often. Sometimes after my podcast, I have a couple of people who will make some comments about it. And when I check my website, I do see that some people do download it. I don't know if they listen to it, but there are most likely some strangers that listen to this and have some opinions that they keep to themselves because I'm not hearing from them. Doesn't stop me from wanting to do this, though. And as I question my motives once again, it's this recurring theme in my talking to myself and also writing and putting things out there. The recurring theme is why? Why do this? And then the counter question comes back, why not? And why do I keep questioning why? I'm doing it. That's the fact. We like to express ourselves. Human beings, we like to be creative. We like to express ourselves. Some of us like to express ourselves in a way that may be heard by strangers, which was going to lead me to the Comedy Store tonight. But the fact that the Comedy Store is not available for open micers tonight, I won't be there. I even had the thought that, well, since I was kind of geared up for a night of stand-up comedy, that I might go check out the show, but I just don't feel like it. Since I'm not an insider anymore, I can't just go drop in and hang in the back like I used to in the old days. Back in the olden days when I was connected to that place, when I lived in that place, I got to see comedy every single night for free, either because I was working there, working the door, working behind the bar, or not working behind the piano, or just not working. I had the privilege, but I don't have that anymore because I'm not plugged in. And I just didn't feel like paying $20 plus a 2-drink minimum to see Dat Fan and friends. I don't want to go into a thing about bashing Dat Fan, even though he's not one of my favorite comics. Yeah, okay, that is the reason, but I'm not going to bash him. He's just not my cup of tea. So I didn't feel like it. So instead, I'm in my car, driving, talking to myself, trying to pay attention to the road. It is Sunday, so it's not like there's a lot of traffic. And as I said also, even though I understand that studies have been done that say our attention is, our driving ability is changed when we talk. I don't really buy that it's not like I'm drunk driving, which unfortunately I have done before. Not doing that now. So let me get back on a topic maybe, or some number of topics. What am I talking about today? Okay, the difference. So the difference, it used to be when I had plans to go to open mic and the open mic didn't happen, I would be upset. It would make me, ooh, look at this. I'm going to go a little time travel here. I'm getting ready to enter into the high-tech high / high-tech middle / high-tech elementary school parking lot. That's a place where my kids used to go to school. And I haven't been there in a while, so who knows? Maybe I'll just pull into the parking lot and not be distracted by driving and continue this podcast in a not driving way, but just in a sitting in a parking lot way. I used to sit in that parking lot either waiting for my kids to get out of school or waiting to drop off my kids to school. Haven't had to do that in a while. For a couple of reasons. One, because my daughter Autumn graduated from here a few years ago. And another reason is because my son Jordan is now going to school online. He does not attend high tech anymore. And oh, what a joy that is. Because not only do I spend all day in my underwear doing my day job, but I also get to spend all day in my underwear because, and I have to apologize for the visual. If you know me and you're picturing me in my underwear now, I'm sorry. Unless you're into that kind of thing. Unless you like picturing a 56-year-old man in boxers and socks. No, that's a look. That's a look handed down throughout the ages. So I'm in the part of the school now that didn't exist when my kids went to school here. They built an elementary school since my kids went here. So I've started to say a few times, and now I'll see if I can finish it. The difference is when I used to do open mics on a regular basis and the open mics didn't happen, or when I didn't get a spot, I would have all this extra adrenaline built up. And now it's just really not that case anymore because I'm not serious about this. I'm doing this because I'm getting the urge to do it for whatever reason, because we're humans and we get the urge to do things. But as I've mentioned before, and I'll mention again, I've got this idea now that when I go up on stage, it's going to be for reasons of just, I want to go up on stage. Do I want to be funny? Yeah. Do I have to get the laughs? No. No, really? How can I think that I'm going to go up on stage and not have to get the laughs? Is that really a healthy thing? Then why even go up on stage? Because it is it's a charge. It's being in the moment. It is being, as I pull into a parking space, I'm going to see if I can give this my undivided attention for a while. I'll leave the car running so I can get some air blowing. I'm going up on stage because I like that feeling of performing. I like performing. And do I want to be funny? Sure. But here's what I'm going for. I'm going for this balancing act. I'm going for this being myself thing with some ideas in mind for jokes, but not even jokes. It's just that I know that when I talk to my friends, and believe me, I know this is not a good example of what I'm doing now. This is not what I would be doing on stage because, first of all, I've got 3 minutes on stage on an open mic. I've got 3 minutes. So there's that. And plus, even though I say I'm not really going for the laugh, it's stand-up, so there's a certain rhythm to it. I know that every once in a while, a few times a minute, there's a certain pacing to it where it should be something that's at least off the cuff, parenthetically kind of amusing or funny. But what I'm going for, and I accomplished this last week, is that I got some laughs, but it's mainly about connecting and being myself. Connecting and being myself. And that's it. And I want it, the rest of it, to be a very Zen experience. And I know that it's kind of been overused by, knuckle cracking. How about that? A lot of times it gets overused by people who maybe don't even exactly know, myself included, who don't exactly even know the true discipline of Zen and Buddhism. But what I'm going for is that. Even in my limited knowledge and experience, that's what I'm going for, is to the greatest extent possible to be myself. So there's one argument, and I'm going to argue with myself, one argument that says, well, I'm always being myself. Even if I'm being my self-conscious self or my constipated self, my not exactly being my truest, freest, expressive self, I'm still being myself. I can't help but being myself no matter what I do. Okay, so there's that. There's that argument. But the self that I'm going for is that self that's being, unlike now, because I just stopped, unfiltered. Does unfiltered mean that I say whatever's on my mind? Yeah. But there's going to be some filter. Some. But ideally it's not even being self-conscious or paying really attention to the process. It's more just like, and go. And it's like a sprint. 3 minutes as far as like stand-up goes, it's a sprint. But then paradoxically, did you hear that? I paused. Because I also know, and as I'm sure if you've listened to me before, or even if you've listened to this, because I've spent almost 15 minutes talking, and there haven't been a lot of pauses. So even though I'm saying I want to be myself, which my true self I think tends to babble, my slightly modified self that I'm going for is to take some pauses. And then, but then flipping, I go back and forth flipping, and then I go, well, yeah, but okay, so I'm going to take some pauses, but are they going to be forced unnatural pauses? No, it's just that self that says, look, just don't just continuously babble, because then you're going to have a chance to maybe go just your straight 3 minutes without doing anything funny. Breathe, grasshopper. What am I going for? I'm going for something that's, it's hard to say. Even though I'm trying to say it, it's hard to say. It's hard to put into words, but I'm trying. It's this idea that, yeah, on the one hand, I want to not plan so much, but I obviously got to plan. Because it really is a rookie move to think that you can just get up on stage and hold people's attention for 3 minutes and have any kind of humor involved without having any kind of plan. So I got a plan. But throughout the week, the stuff that I'm running through, I'm not writing it down. So there's a difference. There's a difference between what I've done before and what I'm doing now. And I'm not reinventing the wheel, because there's plenty. I have comedians who are friends who never write anything down. That's the way they are. And then there's other ones who write down meticulously and will say everything word for word. And I've done that before. My process has generally been something in the middle. There's one thing I've heard about Buddhism, is that I didn't really know that I think I've kind of been Buddhist in one way or another without really knowing it for my entire life, because I tend to think, oh my God, it's funny, I just got distracted a little bit because I'm looking out the window and I'm seeing there's a guy driving through the parking lot with two dogs alongside of him, with two leashes going out. Oh, a woman. Sorry, I thought it was from a distance. It was a guy. So she's walking her dogs. She's in the car walking her dogs. I've never seen that before. Wow. I'm sorry. I'm at a loss for words. Okay. All right. I guess she doesn't feel she can give the dogs their adequate walk without. Okay. All right. There you go. Yet another thing. Life passes you by, right? That's a good one. That's a good one, lady. Well, lady. Maybe that'll be something I do on stage someday. Maybe not. But here's part of the point I was getting to is I'm not writing stuff down. And even though last week I had this thought that I was going to record. I was going to turn on my watch because I have a recorder on my Apple Watch, and I was going to record the set, and I forgot. And then I thought, that's probably all for the best. A little bit of serendipity there. I've seen videos of these Buddhist monks, and I don't want this to be a religious thing. If you hear the word Buddhist and you suddenly think, oh my God, this guy's being preaching religion, or he's preaching Buddhism, it's not even that. As far as religion goes, I'm a smorgasbordist. You know what my religion is? I'm Jowish. I didn't think of that just at the moment. I thought of that years ago. I'm Jowish. I'm a Joist. Does that mean I'm totally selfish? I hope not. I get kids. I take care of my kids. At work, I have an attitude, and my attitude is I like to help people. I like to take care of people. I pride myself on being good at answering people's questions and taking care of their requests. So I'm not totally selfish. When I say I'm Joist or Joish, it's because I don't subscribe to any particular religion. I pick and choose. I was baptized Catholic, but I'm far from Catholicism. I'm not going to cut down Catholicism right now, although I'm tempted. I'm tempted, but I'm not going to. Because, whatever. whatever floats your boat. The only reason I was even tempted to criticize Catholicism is because I had a bad, my parting of the ways with Catholicism was because I was punished by the nuns for daring to ask a question. And at that point, when I was 8 years old, my mom, thank you, Mom, my mom didn't make me go to Sunday school anymore. I was in catechism and I'd asked a question, and I wasn't being rebellious. I was seriously asking a question. They were saying something about the blood and body of Christ, and I just, it was, I don't want to, eat the body and drink the blood. And it was, in my recollection, it was something that was grossing me out, I guess. And I just asked some question about it. I don't even remember the exact question, but here's my memory of it was that I was shamed. I was shamed and I was put in a corner, think about what you've done, one of those typical kind of things, right? So I was upset, and when I got home or after my mom picked me up, I told her what had happened, and I had said something to the effect to my mom, and I know that this is true because years later, I recalled this story to my mom, and she said, yeah, that's how she remembered it too. As I asked her, look, if God gave me a mind, wouldn't He want me to use it? And I was upset, and obviously I must have been very upset because I remember this. We don't have very many memories in our lives. We usually have memories of the bad stuff, something really bad or really good, right? Well, this is one of those things where I was upset. I was upset enough that I'm 56 years old, so this is 48 years later, and I remember this. Is that if God gave me a mind, wouldn't He want me to use it? And my mom didn't make me go back to Sunday school anymore. And I don't know, maybe I went to church at some point after that. I don't remember if that was like the end of my association with the Catholic Church, or I think my mom had also pretty much been near the end of her rope with the Catholic Church at that point too, because when her father died, and that was that was around the time I was 10 years old or so. So a couple of years later, when my mom's dad died, and she went to the priest I'm assuming to be comforted in her time of grief, and was told by the priest that her father was going to hell because he was not Catholic. So see, this isn't totally about Catholicism, it's just about narrow-mindedness. It's about any religion or any belief system where you think you've got all the answers and everybody else is fucked. Everybody else is stupid or a heathen, and they're all going to hell. I don't really appreciate that, because the thing about it is nobody knows. Nobody knows. And if you think you know, well then I really have nothing to say about that, because nobody knows. We're all just in a guessing game trying to figure out what this life is all about, and if there is or isn't a creator. And then when you split that and you take it, well, if there is a creator, then what does the creator want us to do? And then there's thousands or maybe even millions or perhaps billions of opinions on that. In fact, let me just safely say billions, because there's 7 billion people on the planet, and even people who believe in a creator and have just keep splitting hairs until you say, yes, I believe in a creator, and I'm Catholic, and I'm this kind of Catholic, and I blah, 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 and you keep splitting, and eventually you'll still find a reason that somebody else that's a Catholic, almost like you, is still wrong, and they're going to hell. God, how did I get off on this? Because that's what I do. And that's kind of what I'm thinking, even though, I don't know about getting on that third rail of talking about religion in front of an audience, a live audience, because I'm a pussy. I'm doing it now. I'm doing it in my car, and then later I'm going to hit the upload button and put this on the internet. So, sorry if anybody out there decides that they want to tell me what I already know, that I'm going to hell. Fine. I don't really feel like getting into it usually. Except if we're going to talk about goals, just like my goal with stand-up, my goal with this is to be unfiltered. So I guess, if my goal with stand-up is to be unfiltered, maybe one day I will touch that third rail of religion. I also would like to stay away from politics, but sometimes I say, fuck it, I'm going to talk about politics. I'm not going to go there now, unless maybe I decide to. We'll see in the next however many minutes I got left here to talk. I have as many minutes as I want. This is my thing. It's a wonderful world we live in where I can just babble for however long I want, talking to myself, hit the upload button, and potentially anybody in the world can hear it. I know probably only 3 people will hear it, including myself, but it's the thought, isn't it? It's the thought that any of us now, with all of the negative stuff that people have to say about technology and the internet, and and the evilness that it has brought upon us, it's mainly a good thing, because it's enabled us to be able to talk to each other without having a middleman. And that's not true in every part of the world, because those of us don't take that for granted. Anybody who has a problem with what's going on in this country, well, try it in North Korea. Let's see how you feel there. Now, that's not an excuse to say that we shouldn't be trying to fix what problems we have in this country. I'm just saying a little gratitude would be nice. I don't really know or care what anybody's religion is. It's not the first, middle, or last thing I ever ask anybody, because it's none of my damn business. Does that mean I'm a heathen? I'm a terrible person? No, because you know what the basic tenets of my Joish religion? Be nice. Oh, am I being preachy again? Daring to tell you, whoever you might be me. You are most likely, again, a future me. Remember this one. Be nice. That's something my mom used to say, instead of, when people say goodbye to each other and they'll say, see you later, goodbye, have a nice day. That's close to what my mom used to say. She would say, be nice. And at the time, my mom's been dead for 13 years now. And I don't remember exactly when I realized what a cool thing that was that she was saying. I don't even know if I thought of it when she was alive or a couple years after she died. I don't remember. And I guess it really doesn't matter, because it's, our memories are all just kind of smushed together in our heads anyway, right? But be nice. How simple is that? It's basically the golden rule. But even the golden rule has loopholes. Because the thing about doing it, because as I know the golden rule, or have been taught and understand the golden rule, it's about do unto others as you would have them do unto you, something to that effect, right? But, there's some people who want things done unto them that I don't want them doing unto me. People are into all kinds of shit that I don't want them doing unto me. So the golden rule, yeah, it's kind of a good thought, but even simpler, be nice. Can you think of a loophole to that one? I can't. I'm sure there's some smart, devious motherfucker who, did I have to say motherfucker at that time? Does that make me an evil motherfucker because I said motherfucker? Do I have to say motherfucker? No, I don't. I don't have to. But that's another one of those things about self-censoring or not self-censoring. I don't give a fuck. But I do. I put the explicit tag on this podcast so I don't have to censor myself. Could I go an entire podcast episode without saying motherfucker? Yeah, I could. If I wanted to. And if I was in the mood. But I don't think that makes me a terrible, evil person because I say motherfucker. I don't kill people. I don't steal people's things. I don't do terrible things to people. I don't think that has anything to do with language. And is somebody offended by hearing me say motherfucker? Or would they be offended? Sure. That's fine, but that's a them thing. I don't say motherfucker in public. That's one thing I taught my kids a long time ago, and I know that there's people who are going to disagree with this philosophy. I let my kids say whatever bad words they wanted to say as they were growing up, but the one rule that I had was, but not in front of other people, not when we're in public, not when we're in a restaurant or just standing in line somewhere like at the grocery store. You know, in our house you can say whatever you want, but not in public, right? And guess what? They followed that. My kids grew up. In fact, for a while, one of my kids just at home would have the real foul mouth, and the other one didn't. And I'm not even going to differentiate and tell you which is which. It doesn't matter. Point is, for years, they were different. Same rule, different behavior, different choices. Then as they grew up, then they both ended up, being able to express themselves with or without foul language. And when the three of us are together in any combinations, we use foul language sometimes. It's not like it's a comma. Some people use fuck like it's a punctuation mark, and whatever. I don't even have a problem with that. Although there's times, like getting back to comedy for a bit, there's times when I see people hear people doing stand up, and fuck just becomes like, rather than pausing or rather than a comma, they say fuck, and it doesn't offend me, but I go, well, it can be lazy. And I'm turning now, and I'm putting the mirror on myself now too, because heaven forbid, I don't want to censor somebody else and say that, hey, you shouldn't be saying fuck all the time, whatever. Let the audience decide if they like that or not. It doesn't rub me the wrong way. Sometimes it becomes distracting if they're not funny. But if they're funny, I don't notice if they're saying fuck or not, really, to tell you the truth. Sometimes somebody will compliment somebody for being a clean comedian, and I'll go, oh yeah, okay, I guess so. I'll have to pause and go, yeah, I guess the guy doesn't use foul language. I don't really notice one way or the other. If you do, well, oh, okay. But my opinion doesn't make me a terrible person. I don't think I'm part of the decline or decay of America because I use foul language or because I have liberal views. Oh no, liberal. Gee, how many other audience members right now listening to this are going, oh, and I liked him up to that point. Even with the foul language. Here's what I have a problem with is putting labels on people and saying that somehow people with certain either liberal or conservative views have something to do with the downfall of the world, when, you know what, the world, as far as I can tell, even with all of the shit that happens, still a lot of good stuff too. And I don't happen to think that freedom, giving people freedom to either say what they want or just be who they are, I don't think that's evil. Just don't. Hey, well, wait. See now I'm getting preachy. Be nice. Be nice. That's what it boils down to. To be nice. I don't. If more people would just do that, wouldn't the world be a wonderful place? Now, I understand, even as idealistic as I am, I'm way too idealistic for a 56-year-old man. I tell you that. But I'm happy. I'm happy that I've headed in that direction. I'm happy that as the years have gone by, I haven't become the stereotypical jaded, narrow-minded, negative person or motherfucker that some old people become. I like the fact that I've still got some idealism, a lot maybe. I guess it depends on the day. As I stop and think about it, I go, well, yeah, maybe mostly. But I also understand that it's the world isn't that simple. Is everybody going to be nice? No, but I'm just saying if only more people would just adopt that simple idea. You know what? Here, how about this? How about if we spent less time talking about what our differences are, and what your sexual orientation is or what your religion is, as even though I did talk about Catholicism earlier. I'm not saying that I dislike Catholics or Catholicism. I was just sharing an anecdote about my life and what pushed me away from Catholicism. And then eventually what pushed me further away from any religion is just I don't like the thought that people who don't know anything, well, no, I shouldn't say that, no, don't know anything. You can't know. The thing about religion is it's based on faith, which is great. If you got faith and it gives you strength and it gives you a peace of mind, that is awesome. But you don't know. There's a difference between believing and knowing, and I'm not getting into, it's not even semantics here. What I'm saying is there's a difference between believing and knowing. And it's just really a shame that a lot of the problems that we have in the world are caused by us arguing over what we believe. Not even what we know, it's what we believe. Because we can't argue about fact, about 100% ironclad fact, because there's nothing to argue about. 2 plus 2 is 4. I guess if you really want to be difficult, you could argue about that too. But pretty much, when we argue about stuff, it's about our beliefs. But how about if we could just put a lot of that aside, most if not all of that aside, and just be nice? I don't have to like you. I don't have to promote you. I don't have to promote what you're doing. But you know what? If you're doing something and it's not harming me, I don't care. It's not harming me or harming other people. Do it. Do it to it. Do it to it. Do it to it, and do it to whoever likes you doing it to them. Whatever it is. I don't care. Have I gotten off track? No, I'm on a track, whatever track that is. It's 37 minutes and 4 seconds. Drinking some more water, making annoying noises. I listen back to these things sometimes. I go, oh my God, listen to the swallowing noises and lip smacking noises. And oh God, just don't, who cares? Except that annoys me, so I don't want to be a hypocrite. Now I'm self-conscious about the fact that I just swallowed. I listen to other people. It's not like, oh, that makes me unprofessional because I swallowed. Ha! I listened to Mark Maron, who's one of my favorite podcasters, his WTF. Yes, that stands for what the fuck. His WTF podcast, and oh, guess what? He makes noises with his mouth too. I mean, aside from, words. There's some swallowing noises on that very professional podcast. You know what? I'm starting to feel done here. I am starting to feel done. I feel like, whatever it was I needed to get off my chest, I got off my chest. Partially driving, partially parked here in the high-tech high parking lot, doing a little bit of time travel. It's really weird because, again, one of those things that's kind of hard to put into words, but I'm sitting here in a spot where a number of years ago I used to sit waiting for my kids to get out of school. And now I'm just sitting here. Those days have long gone by. Those days will never come back. And I'm just sitting here talking. But the thing that's hard to put into words is, and I was trying to put this in the words the other day with my son, Jordan, and it's just this feeling of, and when you're thinking, God, I'm pausing now because I'm getting pictures in my mind of being here, and it's just that feeling of, that was it. That was that. That was a unique time, and that's true of any time in our lives, and that's as close as I can come to conveying it, is, wow, that was it. Whatever things I was worrying about that day, those days when I was sitting here waiting for my kids to get out and running through something, that I had to do that day, my list of things to do, the ever-present list of things to do, whatever was going on at work, whatever things I was concerned about or happy about, all that stuff is like, all those details are gone, although I guess they're buried deep down inside, but that's not the point. It's like, all of that it's gone. That was it. And when you take that in its whole, in the total, in the whole, not HOLE, but WHOLE, when you take the whole, your whole life and sum it up, you go, well, you look at it and you go, well, that every moment was unique. Every time was unique. Now pull it to the present and say, yeah, that's how I want to feel now. This is it. Because this is all there ever is. It's this moment. It's now. It's looking around. I'm seeing the sun peeking out from the clouds and the flowers. And those flowers those aren't the same flowers that were there 3 or 4 years ago when I was sitting here. Those aren't the same flowers, but there's flowers there. But right now, those are the only flowers. This is it. Again, as I have said many times, and I'll say again, and I'm going to say right now, I know I'm repeating myself. I know I'm repeating what other people have said. I know we grapple with time and memories in our life and what's it all about. Alfie, what's it all about, Alfie? So what if I'm repeating myself? I have a thought, and here's, can I circle back around to, I wanted to talk about the Masters a bit. I will. You know what? I'm not done. I thought I was done. Masters, remind me. Remind me to talk about the Masters. I'll talk about it now because I just forgot where I was going. I was going to circle back around to stand up and life and stuff and talking and it doesn't matter. The Masters. So I watched the Masters today. Today is Sunday and it's April 10th, 2016. Sunday, the Masters is nothing like it. Now, if you don't watch golf, you might be thinking, oh, come on, golf? Boring. Yeah, it could be. Anything could be boring. You could be watching a bunch of people with swords running around doing backflips, and that could be boring if that's not something you're into. Or something as relatively slow-moving as golf can be the most engaging thing ever. And the thing I like about the Masters in general is it's like a lot of sporting events, like the Super Bowl, like a lot of finals. It's the best in the world, and it's still one of those rare occasions these days where there's a lot of people paying attention to it, where it's an event, a single event, and that day that's happening in real time, and people are watching it. The people on the course are watching it. People on TV, or like in this case, I was watching on my phone because I could. That live high def image coming to me, I appreciate that. Oh my God, I'm not taking that for granted. Watching on my phone, and it turned out to be a very exciting back and forth thing. The defending champion Jordan Spieth had a huge lead, had finished the front nine with 4 birdies in a row, and had a 5 or 6 stroke lead going into the back 9, and it looked like just basically he's going to be one of the, in that rarefied air where he would have back-to-back Masters championships, and then it fell apart. He had bogey, and then one hole where he had a quadruple bogey, dunked it in the water twice. Wheels came off. Was that it for him? No, then he actually started coming back again, but then he ended up losing it. And the guy who ended up winning it didn't really back into it because he had a really good day, and he ended up being the beneficiary. He ended up winning, not because Jordan Spieth fell apart, but the combination of him doing well, and damn it, I'm sorry, but the guy's name is slipping my mind because he was relatively unknown, at least unknown to me. He's from England. He's only the second person in history. Nick Faldo won the Masters 3 times, and the last time was 20 years ago. This guy became the first Englishman in 20 years to win the Masters, and only the second Englishman ever to win the Masters. Danny Willett. And if I got that wrong, I apologize to Danny and his fans. Danny Willett. But it was great. So I give you kind of a little thumbnail sketch of some of the stuff that happened today, but I just love it. And that's also what I love about stand-up. Maybe I can tie it back into it. It's just that being in the moment. And that's it. That is it. There's nothing inevitable about it. And we can look back at things and go, oh yeah, World War II. And this is kind of fresh on my mind because I've been watching this Ken Burns documentary about the Roosevelts. And the point I'm at in the documentary is with Franklin, because they started with Theodore Roosevelt, went to Franklin. They're going to talk about Eleanor. They've been talking about Eleanor and Franklin. But point is, I'm at the point in the documentary where they're in the middle of World War II. And sometimes, we look back at history and think that, well, yeah, of course, that's the way it happened. That was inevitable. No, it's not. Nothing's inevitable. Everything I do from this moment forward is not planned out. Okay, we could get into getting back to beliefs again. You might think it is planned out, but I don't believe that. Have a hard time believing that. Then this would be pointless, wouldn't it? Then I'm just an observer. I'm just an observer in a movie. I don't believe that. Watching The Master today, I don't think that was planned out. That's happened. That drama, the stuff that was going on then, now we're already looking back as history. This historic day at the Masters, 2016, it's already history. I watched it happening live, and it was exciting. Being in the moment, it's exciting. And I was fighting the urge to go on Twitter and Facebook and see what other people are saying about it. I went there a couple times, but mainly I said, no, put that down. Just watch it. Enjoy it. Be in the moment. It's all tied together. It's all connected. That might be a good place to close. What do you think? It's all connected. Thanks for listening.
La da da. Just when I have all the answers, all the questions change. One day the world looks so normal, next it looks so strange. Looking over the ocean on a sunny day. I'd like to stay here forever, it would be okay.